Gather around, Skull Brothers and Sisters. This is Skull World, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I'm your host, Dave. You can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. I got Johnny NFL and the man of the hour, Darrell Mattison, father to Alexander Mattison. Let's go. Let's go. How you doing there, Darrell?
Skull, what's going on now? Now my voice go out. Skull, brothers, I'm doing good. Chilling down here in Texas.
I won't cut it out because I am lazy. I don't make any edits.
Hey,
I'm glad
I talk to everybody, so they know my voice.
Oh, I'm glad we could reconnect. We were going to talk to you a while back after I believe it was after Dalvin Cook got released. I was going to bring you on and talk to you about that, and because now it looks like your son is the lead horse, the lead dog on this sled ride to the Super Bowl. So that's why I wanted to bring you on. How's the spirits of the family? It looks like Dalvin Cook is maybe going to the Jets.
Yeah, I was like the Jets, or I guess also either the Patriots and Miami still on the book. So I know he's going to end somewhere good, and I expect him to do well wherever he's at, though. Great guy.
Yeah, I guess talk about that. I know we had you on some live shows, but this is probably going to be seen by a lot more people, and they maybe not heard the story. But from your viewpoint, tell us about that running back room that your son was involved with.
Well, he's been there. This is going on year 5. But from day one, when he first got there, Dalvin made it clear they drafted you in the 3rd round. They're going to expect you to immediately be productive. And he just took Alex under his wing and mentored him, and was always just a good guy and real supportive in everything Alex done. And even now they still speak regularly. Still good buddies. So it's not a bad blood or he left, or anything like that. He knew what he wanted to do, and it's just a great opportunity for Alex to step in and get his opportunity to shine now.
I think most Viking fans have an appreciation for Dalvin Cook and realize, and it was pretty well reported that there was a good relationship there. And honestly, there's never been, it seems like it's always been a good locker room in almost all positions.
All the backs, that running back room is very, very close, and they're very supportive, and they all want each other to get better. So they push each other. So they'll pick each other's brain. Like, I see you do this well, how do you do this? And vice versa. So everyone kind of helps each other, because at the end of the day, you want everybody to be successful. Everybody's not going to be one. Everybody's not going to be there, long term. It's a running back position. So you understand what comes with that. But at the same time, you want to see everybody succeed, because everybody doesn't get that opportunity.
And he's finally not the youngest guy in the room.
Yeah, he just turned 25, June 19th.
He can rent a car by himself now.
Yeah, exactly.
I posted that a couple of times. Yeah. Happy birthday. I put that on Twitter. Happy birthday. You can finally rent a car by yourself.
Yeah, so my grandbaby actually took her first steps about 3 days ago. So
congratulations.
Yeah, so it's real big. So he was excited. He kept sending me snaps and stuff. So it was real dope.
Is that your first one?
Yeah, it's my first one, and her birthday is actually September 9th, so I'll actually be able to be there for her birthday with the first game coming up against Tampa.
That's awesome. We're having Skullfest.
Yeah,
we're having Skullfest that day.
Yeah, I'm coming out.
You're going to come to that? I know. I figured SK would have asked you about that.
That's my brother. SK is my brother. We just all partied together, and I went out to San Bernardino for Alex's football camp, and he came out. We threw me an additional birthday party, because my birthday is the day after Alex's. So when I went out to California, they made sure I had a good time when I came to California. So that's my bro, definitely.
I've been sucking up all the oxygen, Johnny. Did you have something you want to ask?
Well, yeah, mine is just kind of on the topic of the running back room. I'm just curious what your insights on this would be if Alex has a feeling one way or the other. But a lot of people have been saying that, in Minnesota, we've had like a bell cow back for, 16 years, right from AP to Dalvin, and a couple other guys mixed in between, but for the most part, it was those guys, certified number 1 back, getting the majority of the touches. And now it kind of seems like it might be more running back by committee, but every time Alex has gotten a start, he's getting, 24, 25 carries. He's putting up
115 yards a start.
115 yards to start. And he gets those bell cow touches. So, I guess I was wondering if you have any insight there, how you feel this season will go in that department. Do you think he will really be, kind of a 3-down back, or how much do you think those other guys will get mixed in? Because, like I said, every time he does get those starter touches, it's big time touches, and he rarely comes out of the game.
I foresee him being the lead back, getting the majority of the touches. But we do have a great running back room. So when they say running back by committee, when they say stuff like that, that's when you're talking about 35, 40%. That way. I don't see it going that way. Maybe more of a 65, 35 or something like that, because you do want to conserve your back now in this NFL. But on the same note, you have to have someone. The more you carry the ball, the more you get going, you get rolling. And I think a lot of times, even with that Dalvin, that hurt Alex in a way, because they'll put him in on, like, say, third a series. Remember last year, they'll do one series back and forth, but the majority of the time he was in for the series, he might just be blocking because there's more passing. So he still didn't get going. But Alex has always been a 3-down back. Even at Boise, he was. I think this last year there, he ran 302 times was his carry total. So he's built for that. He trains for that. So definitely he will be the lead back, and you'll get to see him do some damage and punishment this season.
One of my hot takes was Alexander Mattison's going to have a 1,000-yard season this year. That was one of my hot takes. I figured, well, there's 17 games now. All he needs to do is get like 55.
If I was a betting person, which sometimes I am, I would take that bet.
Well, as soon as I started thinking about it, I was like, it's probably not going to be that much of a different, way they distribute the carries as it was with Dalvin and Alex. And I think they'll even have a little bit less urgency to get guys like Ty Chandler and Dwayne McBride touches, particularly early in this season, because Alex is really the only proven guy in that backfield at the NFL level. So,
and he's very comfortable. He's very comfortable right now. Overconfidence, because he knows it's what you have to do to maintain yourself from your diet.
Looks like we lost him a little bit. He's coming back on. There you are.
Okay, Alex,
hopefully we can get Darrell on. There you are.
From there, he's pretty much training from there, and then he has his football camps, and if it's not the camp or his family, he's training. So he's really dedicated to the craft of that. He doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, so it just gives him a leg up on making sure that his body's always in peak condition at all times.
How is he about driving? Does he ever test the speed limits a little bit? Does he ever push the limit there?
I mean, he might do the 75, 80 occasionally, but no, we're not driving 100 or better.
Okay. In a Lamborghini grocery getter.
Yeah, exactly. No.
Well, we got
more modest than that.
We got some questions from the listeners.
Sure.
And I don't know if he is talking about you or your son, but I kind of figure both, since you guys both come across this way. He's got that wisdom and confidence that seems necessary in the world and on the field, legitimized my Mattison fandom skull. And that was from smooth_bandito. And that wasn't even a question. He just wanted me to tell you that. So here's a question from Mary Fisk. This was, if it didn't work out with Mattison and he left the Vikings. So this is, if he left the Vikings, but he's with us. So what team do you think your son would have had a great success at? What biggest impact with? Was there a team out there you thought, well, hey, he would have really helped this team?
Who did I like? Well, it was like, and the thing was, it was several teams.
I know Minnesota's your home now, man. I know it is. I know your heart's there.
I really wouldn't put him on another team. I wouldn't. I would still say Minnesota.
There you go, Mary Fisk. Even though you're chicken soup for the soul, if you're listening right now, she's one of our favorite listeners. So it was Minnesota or bust. He was going to retire.
We'll roll with that.
So one person I allowed him 3 questions here. What was your sports journey like?
I was a track star. I ran track, the 100 and the 200. It was funny because Alex had did the barbershop talk last year with Gabe, and he was talking about me running track because he had never seen me running. We ended up one day. He had heard about it, and my friend had always talked about how fast I was. And so in the barbershop, we're talking mess, and our barber was a wide receiver for Tennessee State. And he was like, I can still get out there and get you. So you're not going to embarrass me in front of my sons. So I'm like, okay, we're going to get out there and then run. And so we get out there. I blow the receiver out. And, my boys are all excited and happy. But when he's telling the story, Gabe says, so how, and I think it was Gabe and Osborne. He said, how fast was your dad? And he was like, oh, he ran like a 10-2. I did not. So I ran like a 10-6. So I was like, Alex, you don't embellish on me when you do it, because somebody might call me out in the streets and try to get me to run. And I don't have that in me. I don't even have a 10-6 in me anymore. So let alone a 10-2. But yeah, I ran track. I played football like everybody else, like junior All-American. And I think I might have been 9. And I got crackbacked. And I'm pretty sure I was concussed because I was so far away from the play. It had nothing to do with nothing. I'm just standing there. And that's why they always say, keep your head on the swivel. And it's always a live ball. And whoever this big kid was, he blew me up. And I'm sure I blacked out. I'm sure I was concussed, but they didn't say anything about it. So when I get up, I'm looking for a flag, and there's no flag. And I'm like, that's what we do? And they like, it was legal. And so I said, that's enough for me because I want to fight. I don't need to be out here anymore. And I kind of went to track from there.
So he goes on to ask, how and when did you know that your son was destined for the NFL?
We've had this conversation before. Alex started playing when he was 6, but I was never the dad that was, this is your future. So education always came first in my house. So, Alex might be 7 and all the way up to 10. He might have homework to finish, and he'll be at practice, and he's over there trying to finish his homework before he can go into practice. So I don't care how good you are. You just had to make sure that you finished your homework, because anything can happen in sports. You can blow out a leg, a knee. I have too many stories and friends that it's happened to. So we're going to make sure your education is right first. When he got to high school, like in junior All-American, everybody's kind of good. You have a kid that's bigger than everybody else or a little stronger, they look a little better. And then when you get to high school, you're going to be behind whoever's there first and kind of have to work your way into it. Alex didn't play 9th grade football. He still played junior All-American his 9th grade year because they wanted to run back and do a championship with his last time with his friends. And so 10th grade he started. So there was a guy in front of him that they played him behind. But the following year, which he had a good sophomore year. But the following year, the guy in front of him didn't want to compete, so he transferred to another school, which opened up the door for Alex to be the starter. And he had 2,000 yards that year, 2,000 yards the following year, his senior year, and then he went to Boise. But it wasn't until his second year at Boise that I started thinking more NFL. I was just happy he had a 4-year scholarship. I was happy that he was excelling at the sport. But if a child wants to tell you they want to be a fireman or a doctor or a lawyer, that's more of a dream that you can push more because it's more practical. When you start saying I want to be an NFL player, when you got 1% of college athletes that actually going to be in the NFL, you really want to make sure that you have a sound footing first. So I'll say his sophomore year in college, I started seeing that it was something that was really more reachable or tangible. Because also he was in a mid-major, so it wasn't like he was at SEC school where he was getting a lot more looks. You're still at a mid-major, and your competition, although good, you got Josh Allen and Herbert that and all those that they played against, but it didn't. Not until his sophomore year when I started thinking he was going to be in the NFL.
And that was from @SkullZone. Thank you for the question. I know you said some of these stories before, but like I said, we may have to repeat some because I wanted this one so everybody could go back and look at it.
Yeah,
I could share it on. Hey, this is Alex Mattison. When he gets his first 100-yard game this year, I'm gonna start spreading this around just as much as I do anything else.
No problem.
This guy's pretty negative. But I'm gonna do a pause swing. He says, how many games do you expect Cousins to lose? So in reality, in the positive sense, how many games do you think we're going to win this year? We can figure out the losses off of that.
I'm gonna say this. I don't know if y'all watch Quarterback on Netflix, but it gave me a totally different respect on Kirk Cousins. I wasn't always the greatest fan of his, but after really watching Quarterback, I have a totally different respect for Kirk, for Captain Kirk, and I can definitely see. I'm gonna say minimum 11 games that we're gonna win.
I picked 12, so I think 11 would be an amazing floor for us.
Yeah,
That's great.
I would like more, and depending on sometimes how the way the ball bounces, but I'm gonna say definitely I see 11 coming and playoff, and we moving into playoffs past round 1 this year.
That's awesome. One last question. What is a funny childhood story? You already gave us kind of one with your for your kids being able to watch you race the barber, but is there a funny childhood story of Darrell Mattison that's YouTube worthy?
Of me. Okay. Well, another running story. We were at the track, and they ended up racing against. This is when I had my super dad bod. So
Super dad bod.
if you ever saw the Fat Albert movie, they said it looked like
there a little bit. So you're talking about your super dad bod and Fat Albert.
Yeah. So they kept saying my legs were moving real fast, but the upper part of my body wasn't moving at all. So I look like Fat Albert from the
Jetsons,
movie.
actually. Or no, was it that the Flintstones with their
Yeah. So but I don't know if you saw the Fat Albert movie, but yeah,
a long time ago.
His legs moved real fast, but his fat body just kind of just sat there and wasn't doing anything. And that's how I looked when I was running. And so it was funny. They kept calling me Fat Albert for like a week.
And is there a funny story about Alexander that you could tell us?
Alex. That's a lot about Alex. I think, funny. Alex is funny.
Or just a good story. You don't have to dig too deep.
Okay. Well, a good. A lot of people know Alex's character a lot, and I remember him being when he was doing his signing to go to Boise. He had a friend, because Alex had the same friends, from first grade, and he's still good friends with a lot of his friends. But the story was that at the end, the guy, his friend, got up there, and he was like an overweight guy, had real bad skin and stuff like that. And he got up there and he said, I probably wouldn't have graduated high school if it wasn't for Alex, because everybody made fun of me. And from first grade to now, Alex has never not been my friend. He's always stood up for me and been that. So it didn't matter if he was a team captain or anything like that. If you were his friend, you were his friend. And it doesn't matter what the outside world, and that's what I try to teach him, what the outside world thinks about anyone. You always treat people the same way that you want to be treated. And I think when that kid got up there and stood that, it said that, it made me understand how good of a kid he was, that a lot of times you don't get to see from behind the scenes because you're not at the school with them. So you're the same person all the time. Be the same person all the time. And Alex is the definition of being the same person all the time with everybody.
That's awesome. And here's a picture of your 3 sons when they were little. Who are we looking at here?
Okay, this is actually the oldest, the one to from my right, it might be your left. I'm not sure how you look at it. The one under Alex's left arm is his oldest brother. That's Darrell Lamar. And the one next to him, they're both twins. Those are the twins. And the other one is Lamar Darrell, and of course Alex in the back. So they're very close, all of them. Darrell actually lives in Minnesota, and Lamar still lives in California, where he's acting, and he was doing boxing for a short time as well.
That's awesome. So any chance we get the afro back?
No,
he's sporting that pretty good in this picture.
It's funny that he always had braids. He used to wear like Mohawks in high school. So his mom would braid in whatever his color was, red and black, or green, but she'll braid in the colors. If you can't see it there, but yeah, that's a Mohawk.
I brought this one up. This is
he would usually have a Mohawk and he'd be standing up like this, so he can. We used to call him the Hawk, so he can intimidate the other team when he was walking on the field. So he have a full Mohawk every time. And then when he got ready to go to Boise, he wasn't going to have his mom there, and he wasn't going to be able to have his hair braided. So that's when he started actually dreadlocking his hair when he went to Boise, because he didn't know if he was going to be able to get his hair braided or not.
So is this the history of number 2?
Yes, that was his number all through Junior All-American. And then when he got to high school, there was a number 2 already, and so he took 22. And then the following year, the guy with the 2 left, but he couldn't. He didn't want to change his number because he didn't want people to forget who he was. So that's why he was 22 in high school, and also that was kind of one of the requirements when he went to Boise, that he got to keep the number 22. And of course, when he got to, but
yeah, another one I wanted to ask you while we had you back on was, what is your, and then we can have Dave and I and the viewers can look this up later on. Well, what's your favorite either play or game? Watching Alex play, whether it's college or NFL. What should we go watch after this? That was your favorite time watching your son play?
My favorite game, and probably my favorite college game, was Boise State versus Colorado State, 2017, and they were down maybe 30 points at halftime, and it just kind of looked like a blowout. And they actually came back, and I think they won the game 57-53. And I think he might have had 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game. But it was probably the greatest college game I've ever seen. If you ever get a chance to go back and watch it, and you can just really go look at the highlights, and it'll give you a big gist of it. But I think that was his breakout game as far as a statement game. That game and his final game against Fresno before he came out in 2018, the championship game. That was the first game I ever saw a losing team give the offensive player of the game trophy to the losing team. So Alex ended up rushing for 200 yards that game, and he actually got offensive player of the game, even though they ended up losing.
You said something before about him calling you up to tell you about that because you had left, or how?
No, we had left because it was so cold. It was like, Boise is cold. I couldn't feel my feet. Like literally nothing. Like, I was ready to go. So I'm assuming they lost. Like I said, they've never given a trophy to the losing team's player. So we all walked back to his apartment.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so he didn't come back for like an hour or something. We're like, where's Alex at? So when he comes in with this trophy, he like, where were you at? I said, dude, y'all lost. It was cold. I was gonna meet you back here. What else were we gonna do? And he said, no, I got the offensive player of the game. I said, why would I think that? Have you ever seen that? So yeah, he was a little bit bothered that none of us waited. We were cold. All right, game over. We all sad. We lost. See you at the house. That's pretty much where it was. But yeah, he was a little bit upset that we left.
So the game against Indy this past year, was he on the sidelines going, man, I came back from 30. We can do this. That surprised him at all.
Like Patrick Peterson said, when he said all we need is 5 touchdowns, that was really their mentality coming out of it. And most games like that, if you get a couple touchdowns, if you're a player with heart, you automatically start feeling like, okay, this is doable. And the stands, if it was funny because they do the camera, where they take pictures of the crowd. So they caught me and his mom sitting there. I'm on my phone, and then I'm mad. I'm looking, and we're just looking mad. Like we gotta sit through this. And so it was funny that they caught those pictures when they ended up winning, because pretty much, I'm not gonna lie, half the stadium had left, and I just never leave my son's games. Win, lose, or draw, we're gonna ride this out, even if I'm not happy. But half the stadium had left, and the people that were there were so negative, But once to be there, that was really, to be there was a whole different energy that I've never experienced. That was crazy.
So I think this is probably your son at some camp, probably before college. Ooh, there you go.
He actually got MVP of the camp, and
I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I don't know if you can hear us.
Especially not in LA. And so when
can you start over? We lost you there.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So this is the Under Armour camp. His senior, I want to say his senior year. And the funny thing about it was he got MVP of the thing. And actually Eric Bieniemy was the running back coach for this camp.
No kidding.
Yeah, that I don't even think Alex remembers that, and I always say I'm gonna remind him. But so Eric Bieniemy was actually his running back coach for that camp, and he was doing some very impressive times, and everything was real good. And it was so unexpected for him to get anything because, like I said, we're from a smaller school, and it's normally the modern days and different things in LA where the big high schools where they get the MVPs from. And literally, when they called his name for MVP, people said, "Where? Who? From what?" And I was like, really just disrespectful? So then I just started screaming, San Bernardino, like, y'all not going to do that. And so there was a big write-up about it. But he's always been a kid that excelled. But that camp right there, I remember him getting MVP, them doing a write-up in the LA Times, and he really went down there and showed out. So, yeah, that was the Under Armour camp.
Let me skip. So this is in my Boise State, and when I was looking up pictures from Boise State to use, every single one of them was him hurdling over somebody. Is this a tool in his belt that he's going to bring out on the field every game?
He was a 110 hurdle champion in high school.
Yep.
So he actually, that's what he does do. And it was funny. I actually it wasn't that one. It was another picture similar to that one. I actually used to have had a sweatshirt made, and it had him hurdling with the Nike symbol with the "Just Do It" under. And so
that's awesome.
So and it was funny because actually the guy from where did Josh Allen come out of?
Oh,
Wyoming.
Wyoming.
The guy from Wyoming, he actually hurdled him 2 times, two different seasons that he was put on a poster, and and he actually the year Alex got drafted, he got drafted to the Vikings as well. So awesome. I don't remember his name now, but yeah, Alex hurdled him 2 years in a row, and so it was kind of funny. But yeah, he definitely that's one of it. And if you remember his first year in the Vikings, actually, like the big 99 plays or whatever for the NFL, he was hurdling. I want to say one of the Detroit players that year.
I want to say I remember him hurdling somebody. So when I saw these pictures, I was like, I remember him doing it. To somebody.
He did it to Detroit. It was like a big one that they kept playing over and over during the Super Bowl. And actually, then he hurdled the Eagles guy, and that's when that Eagles guy pulled it by his dreads and drug him out of bounds. I was kind of upset about that. So yeah.
Well, here's him. I guess at the combine.
That's the combine. Yeah, that's the combine.
Was he he went in the 3rd round. Do you think that maybe his 40 time was like a 4.67, which might have held him back? Was he disappointed with that time? Do you think that might have hurt him, or was there something?
He was actually nursing the injury at that time. So
okay.
I know it hurt because the problem is, like, if the time that you put up at the combine is pretty much what everybody goes by, and then they always feel like what you do at your pro day doesn't really excuse what you did there. But I expected him to do better at the pro day. I mean, and he worked his butt off from the combine to the pro day to make sure he was better. So that 4.53 that he ran at the pro day.
Good. So
and he actually ran it twice. So it wasn't like he did it. It was a one-off. He ran it twice at the pro day. So it wasn't a fluke. He worked his butt off. And not to mention, even his agent understood that Alex is not the fastest person. That's why when I read all these things like, well, Alex isn't as fast as Dalvin, I was like, well, most of the running backs in the league aren't as fast as Dalvin. So like
4.53 is pretty comparable to the rest of the league. Yeah.
And that's what the guy said when he ran the 4.6 at the combine. He said there's a difference. The commentator, he said, I expected a faster time, but there's a difference between 40 time and football 40 time, because he's football fast. You understand the difference? He's not necessarily going to blow you away with his speed, but he's football fast. He'll do what he needs to do if he gets in the open field.
And your son does everything so well, from blocking to receiving to just literally running the ball. And I know you brought up that the last time we talked, you brought up the play in Seattle against Seattle, and I'm like, he was a rookie.
And I say that all the time. He was literally a rookie, and you're going to do what your coaches tell you to do. Yeah. If your coaches say you hit this hole, you don't even have the status really to be like, no, that looks better over there.
Over here, yeah.
And not just that, I'm also saying us looking from the up down, it's a lot clearer to look down and say, okay, there's a big ass hole right there. as opposed to you're in the trenches with 6'3", 6'4" men, and you might not see the hole. And so, I mean, I would say 10 times out of 10 now, if that same play was to happen, he would know the difference. But yeah, he's a 20. He wasn't even old enough. He was 20.
Yeah,
I think he was 21. He just turned 21. Come on, now.
I looked into the future, and I found this picture in Google in the future, and it's this guy. It's this guy with the Vince Lombardi trophy. I don't know. It was there. I found it. I found it. What do you feel about this, man? Is this gonna happen?
I really truly believe that Alex has a destiny that's predestined, and I do believe that before he retires, and I definitely believe with Minnesota that we'll get to hold the trophy. You know, just like the college ring, the championship ring, the Vegas Bowl, it has to go on the wall. It has to be there.
One coming here. You heard it here first.
Yeah. I definitely believe that. You know, he's always had a good walk. You know, he's always had to be number 2 behind somebody in the beginning. When he got to Boise, he was behind Jeremy McNichols. You don't even hear about Jeremy McNichols anymore. And you know, so. And it's funny because when Alex was San Bernardino, there was a Catholic school in L.A. that tried to come and get Alex and get him to transfer down there. And it turned out later on that their league running back there was Jeremy McNichols. But Alex just didn't want to go to a school that was already a powerhouse. He was like, Dad, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it here where I'm from. They was like, we'll give you a scholarship. We'll put one of your parents down here in an apartment during the week so that, you'll always have your parents with you. And he said, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do it here. If it doesn't happen here, it just won't happen. And it's just funny that that was Jeremy McNichols. Then when he got to Boise, he was behind Jeremy McNichols for that 1 year. And once Jeremy left, he was able to step into that lead role. And he sat and valued his time here in Minnesota, never complained, loved Dalvin, did what they asked him to do. I was kind of disappointed they didn't use him more last year. Mm-hmm. And I think I think that kind of hurt him in the running back market, especially with the things going on with the running backs. Mm-hmm. Because he didn't get to showcase a lot, like when Stefanski was there. That first year was my favorite year because Stefanski really had the idea of how to run 2 backs. Which is even in Cleveland is what he was doing with Hunt and Chubb, and I think that they got away from that the last 2 years with not actually, using them and utilizing them like that. And people were like, well, he didn't work hard enough to get on the field. That was the plays they were calling. It wasn't because when he got on the field, he did fine. So it had nothing to do with his lack of talent or dedication to it. But to make it sound like he just didn't play enough last year because it was his.
Oh, he popped off there for a second. Now, Jeremy McNichols, was that the running back that proposed to his wife and that we brought into camp? Oh, well, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, was Jeremy McNichols from Boise State? Was he the guy that proposed to his wife in the after like a touchdown or something?
No, that was Ian. That was Ian. Ian, I can't think of his last name. That was before
the guy that we brought into camp. I think the guy that, if I remember right, because we brought a Boise State running.
Yeah, that was probably him because I know. And no, y'all never had Ian there, but he or Jeremy McNichols either. So I think the only person.
Been a long time ago. I forget my age gets up there, and I forget which decade I was.
That was probably 5 years before Alex, because it was funny.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
When CBS did the documentary on Alex, his senior year, Ian actually was the narrator.
Yeah, it was the Statue of Liberty play that they scored a touchdown on, and the guy proposed. And then he ran
and then he went and ran and proposed to his girlfriend.
Truly. And then she ended up being on the Vikings. I think he might have made the practice squad, but he never saw the field.
Yeah, a lot of Boise running backs like Doug Martin and what's the guy from the Eagles that won? I can't think of his name either. When they won the Super Bowl, we've had a couple Boise, but put it to the Vikings now. They don't have a good one. It was funny. I think I might have told you before. I've done music and stuff as far as managing different artists, and back in Alex was maybe in 10th grade or 11th grade. We shot a video and actually had a Vikings helmet with 28 and Peterson on Alex's back in the video. Because there was a line in the song where the guy goes, Adrian Peterson. And so it was just kind of ironic that he would actually end up on the Vikings as a running back.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow's got a Randy Moss jersey. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I always post that every once in a while.
yeah.
Hey,
So it was a T-shirt with 28 and Peterson on the back with a helmet, and in the video, and who knew that Alex would be a Viking? The foreshadowing of him being a Viking.
I think your son was videoed seeing his throwback jersey for the first time and saying that he was gonna keep it, like he was gonna. That was his.
Which one?
I don't know. I think it was your son. I might be mistaken, but let me just ask you this: what do you think of those throwback jerseys that they're gonna wear the first game?
They're ugly, but I have ordered one.
They're ugly.
But
That
I have
is the
ordered
first.
one. I have
I
ordered
think that's
one.
the first negative opinion I've seen of that. I'll cut that out.
Yeah, I understand why the Viking fans love them, and me being a diehard Chiefs fan, that's just ugly. But
Okay.
I ordered one, and I'll be wearing one. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's what counts.
I was thinking about getting the number 22, your son's old number, but just because it was Paul Krause. I was going to get the Paul Krause throwback.
Well, I always bring out my old Boise 22s. Like we have a Viking bar out here that I go to whenever I'm not at a game, and love them all to death. We have a great time out here and just party real tough. But at least once a year, I'll break out a 22 Boise State jersey at the bar, just to rock one.
Again, I've taken so much oxygen out of the room, Johnny. I only have one question. I'll save it for the end, but keep going if you have any questions.
Those are the only two I had really burning. So go ahead if you've got another one right away. I'm sure I'll think of something else.
So let me set this up. Okay, there's an episode of Two and a Half Men where Charlie takes Jake, his dad's Alan, takes Jake to the racetrack, and he wants to bet on the horse, and he picks the 50-1 horse. He says, "Don't do that. No, I want the 50-1 horse." And now he's got like $1,000 in his hands, right? Okay. He goes home. Alan comes home. What'd you guys do? Oh, we did this. We did this. And then he goes up to the room and he sees his son on his bed making it rain with $1,000. And obviously you don't want your uncle to take your kid gambling. But to set this up, your son just signed a big contract, probably more. Never expected this in San Bernardino to be in a second contract with the Minnesota Vikings. Have you ever caught your son doing snow angels on the ground with a bunch of cash, or is there been a purchase that you're kind of like, that's not my son?
Actually, and he'll probably the same thing. I would say no. Alex is very frugal. He's very mindful. His first contract, he pretty much lived off of his signing bonus and endorsements. Bought a modest car. He bought a Blazer. He tricked it out and did stuff like that.
I had a Blazer once.
But these the new ones back. I had a Blazer too. Actually, I had a Jimmy. Which is the same car.
Blazer.
Yeah, it was the same car. But yeah, Jimmy and the Blazer was the same car back in the day. Yep. So when they first brought him back, that was the first car he bought. Made sure me, his mom, his brothers, and of course his fiance now, my daughter-in-law, had cars, and everybody's a nice little chunk of money, and then the rest of it he just he's bought a house. He's actually building a house now in Minnesota. Should be done in August. Bought a couple pieces of property, but no, he really doesn't. Like I said, he doesn't drink. He doesn't go out, so he'll never be at a strip club or anything like that. So he's just really mindful for his money. All things come to an end at some point in time. He plans on being very comfortable when he retires. And he only wants to play to maybe he's like 33, 34 anyway. So so definitely. Yeah,
I don't think a Chevy Blazer can get to 140. I don't think it can. So
no. But it can go. That might be his top speed. I think the top speed on the Lambo
that might be what it says on the speedometer.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's probably it. You're probably getting 140 total. It's just so yeah. So no, he's a very he's still a real humble person. I think he enjoys more time with family. It was good this year. Like the picture you saw that you posted with him and his brothers, that was actually in Ohio. And I think that was the last time they had been to Ohio. I think they were like 7 or 8 in that picture. And so we had our family reunion this past June. And so I got a chance to have out to Dayton and meet all my cousins and family. And it's the first time, everybody got together, and I just wanted them to have that experience. So it's just, we're more family oriented. We really are about making sure that the family is always good. And that's what we did, because all the struggles we went through together. And you just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable and everything works out the way it's supposed to. Not gonna hear them all, I lost it all or none of that. So, so
I think everybody listened knew that was the exact answer that was coming. I just tried to squeeze some juice out of it.
No, there's definitely no big purchases like that.
Yeah, speaking to his character a little bit again here. So you mentioned too how when he got into the league, he was kind of right under Dalvin's wing, and Dalvin was a great mentor for him. Now with him gone, do you see Alex sort of moving into more of a leadership role in the locker room and particularly in the backfield? And how do you think he'll benefit, or how do you think the young guys will benefit from having a guy like him as the lead horse and someone they can take pointers from and learn from by example?
What I say now with Dalvin being gone, Dalvin was more outgoing and vocal. So so that you just kind of look up to that. Somebody with CJ and Alvin being family guys, I think that's going to be a very good positive impact on the young ones like McBride and and the other ones have already been there, so they know Alex's character and how he is. So that's definitely something I see that they follow now and mentor off of. That he mentors them in. It's just it's you got to really take it as a thing that it's a job. You might get paid more than average people, of course. So you're going to be able to do things and experience things that a lot of people will never get to experience. But at the end of the day, it's a job. And if you come in every day and treat it like a job, it'll pay you back. And you can leave with enough money to not have to beat up your body for 17, 18 years because you didn't save money. I have a friend whose nephew is Chris McAllister from the Baltimore Ravens. And he's from California as well. He literally lives in the house that he bought his parents when he made over $55-60 million, because he has like 8 kids, 7 baby mamas, and he had nothing to show for it when he retired. So how do you blow through $55 million? And had you not got your parents a house, had your mom and dad not invested correctly, you wouldn't have nowhere to stay right now. So there's so many cautionary tales that you watch, just because you got a lot of money, you got to still look at your taxes, how much comes out, your investments, are they wise investments? Can't think of the running back that was in Cleveland and then he ended up going to Indianapolis, but he literally gave, 10 or 12 cousins ATM cards where they could just pull money out. So when his career was over and he's playing in the CFL because he has no money left, and but everybody he had money to are doing well, but nobody wants to help you now. So you really have to be mindful of not just how you take care of your money, but who you give your money to or who you decide you want to help. And I think with the running back room, and like I said, with the issues that's going on with running backs right now and the pay and all that stuff, you really have to take the money that you get and take care of it. Make sure you have a nest egg and that you take care of you first, your family. And then if you want to help somebody extend it outside of there, then you can. But definitely that. Like I said, Alex has had the same best friend since 10th grade. His wife was his girlfriend since 10th grade. So it's the same people around him. When his friends come out to his game, it's his junior All-American friends that he played, football with. There's not a lot of new friends around Alex short of the, people he might meet from his team that he's cool with. But no, his circle is very insulated, and they're not going to let him do stupid stuff.
You brought up one player here, McAllister, in the newest McBride, the newest addition to the running back room. Is there any first impressions that your son or you had of him coming in?
I literally only know, what I've seen from his footage, and And Alex hasn't. We haven't had any conversations about McBride. I don't think he didn't really do much during mini camp, so we didn't have like a real impression from that. So
Right.
Alex hasn't said anything, and like I said, short of what I've seen from the footage when he got drafted, that's pretty much all I know. So I wouldn't speak on him.
Gotcha. Anything before we close, Johnny?
No, this has been awesome though. That's all I got right away.
It's been a pleasure, Darrell, and I'm going to see you apparently September 9th.
Yes, we will.
That's going to be awesome.
The turnup will be real. The turnup will be real. We will be enjoying ourselves.
You're buying.
Yes,
hey, come on.
No, first one's on me, man.
Got you, brother.
That's it for today, guys. Skol Vikings.
Go, y'all. See y'all soon.
See you week 1, man. Appreciate it.